think probably we can turn our attention a little bit to the bigger news that happened a little bit earlier in the evening, and that's the Corbin Burnes trade, which I mean, just felt like it came out of nowhere. Obviously, the Orioles sold earlier in the week, and it's kind of it's a financial group, deep pockets. I believe they might be Orioles fans too. Someone said at one point, maybe not, but they go out a few days later and go make the trade for Corbin Burnes. And I was listening to Burnes on the Foul Territory today, and he was saying they've been working, or the Orioles GM was telling him they've been working on trading him from all offseason, and they've been talking to the Brewers. So this has been in the works for a long time, but then it finally happened.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts, like quickly, just on the Brewers trade. What did you guys think of the return they got? What do you think for the Orioles? It's kind of wild.
Two things about this return. First off, it's way lower than I expected it to be. That's kind of the main thing. I can't believe that the Orioles, they gave up a glove for a shortstop prospect who's kind of a fringe top 100 guy. Baseball America doesn't even have him in their top 100. He's old. He's not a super interesting prospect. And then Hall might be a reliever at this point. He was a much more highly touted pitching prospect a few years ago. And I feel like he's really trended downwards. And then like some draft pick, but I don't know. I don't think it's that great of a return for a guy like Burnes, who's already won a Cy Young award. It felt like they were going to get so much. And so the second thing here is how that compares to other returns. Obviously, that is way less than the White Sox want for Dylan Cease. Yeah. Now, I know Cease has the extra control, but Cease is not a better pitcher than Corbin Burnes. It's just Corbin Burnes has won a Cy Young award. Like, Corbin Burnes is a premier pitcher, one of the best pitchers in baseball. And also, the Cardinals got more for 60 games of Jordan Montgomery than the Brewers just got for an entire year of Corbin Burnes, which is absolutely nuts. So, Mo masterclass again.
Yeah, I was really shocked by the Corbin Burnes trade. Obviously, we previewed the Brewers a little bit ago because we kind of thought they weren't going to trade Corbin Burnes, and they were kind of going for it when they signed Hoskins. So we're like, yeah, let's just preview the Brewers now. Obviously, we have to do that again, but I think the trajectory of the Brewers was really strange because they signed Hoskins. I was like, they're going to go for it. And now they traded Corbin Burnes. I think Corbin Burnes had the same thought, I think, in an interview today reacting to the trade, and was like, yeah, when they signed Rhys Hoskins, I thought I was going to stay for sure. But no, he's off to the Orioles. The main takeaway that I have right now is that the Brewers' chances of winning the Central, pretty much none. Now they're probably going to have to move on from Adames at some point.
Bang.
Because their rotation is Freddie Peralta, Wade Miley, and then like Colin Ray, Joe Ross, and DL Hall. Like, that's not good. Like, remember when the Brewers rotation was like one of the best in all of baseball? They had Burnes and Woodruff. Both of them are gone. And now I'm taking the Cardinals rotation over them like any day. Like Sonny Gray, Freddie Peralta, they're pretty comparable. But after Sonny Gray, you have like the guys like Miles Michaelis, Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson are more proven than like Joe Ross, who hasn't pitched in the majors since 2021. Colin Ray came from Japan. He was terrible. Wade Miley is kind of like Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, borderline territory. I think he was in that meme that we made where the Cardinals signed Lance Lynn and James Paxton and Wade Miley, right? I think those were the three guys. So he's their number two right now. So it's going to be interesting. I think Adames is next. Evan Williams might go. They might try to move on from Yelich even. I don't know. That contract's going to be weird, but I think it's pretty much lost for the Brewers now. At least for now, they're going to reset and then try to come back in like a year or two.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what happens with because Adames feels like a guy that they have. Like, it just would be weird not to move on from because they do have what's his face from the Orioles. Would they just
Ortiz?
Ortiz, who can play shortstop and kind of is like a very similar style player to Adames. So they kind of replace him with that. But he's also in a contract here. But like with Devin Williams, Christian Yelich, Peralta, like I see those guys staying right now because the Brewers do have young talent coming up right now. Last year, they started to debut some of it. And early in the season, it was their young guys who were actually carrying them. Obviously, it fell off in the second half, but that tends to happen that the young guys run into walls. We've seen that in St. Louis a lot. Jackson Churrio's coming up this year, and then Brewers have a top 10 system in all of baseball right now. So the Burnes trade felt weird to me because, I mean, this team just won the NL Central by 9 games. And the reason I was so low on them in all this whole offseason is because I just kind of thought this would happen because it's the freaking Brewers and they do this stuff every time. And it's mind-boggling. If I was a Brewers fan, I'd be so mad.
Yeah.
But it's just what they do. So on the Brewers side, I don't see them as a realistic contender in 2024, but would it be surprising me if they had a Brewer or a Reds type run from last year? Not really, because the rotation's the thing that is the worst thing right now, but the bullpen's still pretty good. Lineup is better than it was, but it's not good still. But if Hoskins is good and Churio is good, that lineup, it's not bad. It's probably average. But the biggest takeaway for me is the Orioles. Like, come on. I was just so, as a baseball fan, I was so frustrated by how they handled last year and that their biggest acquisition was Jack Flaherty. Like, come on. They should have been in. And so the fact that they went out and got Burnes and now they arguably have one of the best rotations in all of baseball with one of the best up-and-coming lineups in all of baseball, and they already won 101 games last year, and they don't even have Jackson Holiday on their roster yet, and they have all these top prospects. Come on, Baltimore. Like, go take down the Yankees, go win the AL East, go win the World Series. The Cardinals aren't there, which it probably won't be.
Dodgers ahead of them, but okay.
Go beat the Dodgers.
Hey, no. They're going to lose to the Cardinals in 7. Come on.
That's what you said. We might have to change those.
Yeah.
But,
I have to change my Milwaukee pick now.
Yeah. Yeah. You think? You had them in the NLDS.
Look, I thought Burnes was going to be there. Burnes is a great wild card game 1 starter. Like, that influences my thinking.
Oh, gosh.
The Orioles aren't going to be in a wild card game. They're winning the division. They're getting a bye.
Yeah. So any other thoughts on the trade itself?
I couldn't agree more on the Burnes to the Orioles stuff. Like, I'm so happy for Baltimore. This is a team that won 100 games, and it was so much fun, like you said. Yeah. They are so much fun to watch. And now you're adding Jackson Holiday, who, in all seriousness, is one of the best prospects we've seen in a long time come through any system. Yeah. You're adding him. Gunnar Henderson's going to be your older, and we know he's special. Adley Rutschman is going to be your older. He could take another step forward into superstardom. And now you're adding Corbin Burnes to all of it. You're going to have Grace Rodriguez for the entire season. This team is awesome. Hopefully John Means is even going to be better now that he's 2 years removed from Tommy John. Can't say enough about how excited I am for Baltimore. It's great. It's a great move for them. And it really does influence the trade market a lot too. It's another suitor gone for the White Sox. And so this is kind of where I wanted to move our conversation next. I wanted to ask you guys, Chris Getz has been asking for the moon for Dylan Cease, and the Brewers kind of just set the market for aces, and it's shockingly low. What do we think about Chris Getz and the White Sox? Did they just lose all their leverage?
I mean, the suitors for Dylan Cease, we saw, I think the Braves went out, they got Chris Sale. The Reds signed Frankie Montas, so like, we're done. They could still do it. I don't know why they wouldn't, but please don't, Reds. That would be so bad. The Dodgers went out. They got Glass now. Now they have 5 starters, and they're probably going to bring back Kershaw, so it doesn't really make sense for them at Dylan Cease.
Why not?
Maybe, but, I mean, they're going to have to build a 6-man rotation, so maybe they'll get one more starter. I don't know. That would be a little frustrating, but I can't really see them doing it right now. Baltimore, obviously, they just got Corbin Burnes. And I don't really know who else is really left in the market looking for a starter. Maybe the Yankees. They just missed. They weren't on Corbin Burnes for a long time, but I feel like they're going to go out and sign Blake Snell. So I don't really know. There's not really that many options left for Dylan Cease to go to. And maybe I'm being biased and just thinking that, like, yeah, the Cardinals have a shot now. But the White Sox have to trade Dylan Cease this offseason. It's a huge mistake if they don't. I feel like they're not going to, but like, it'll look like the Trevor Story thing with Colorado, like the Cubs not trading Contreras, and all those like moves that, like, it just doesn't make sense. You're going to recoup so much value for that, and instead risking injury before the deadline or waiting until even next offseason, which would be crazy. If they waited until that long to trade him, because their window of contention is not going to reopen until Dylan Cease is a free agent, and it just doesn't make sense for them to hold on to him. They can get some amount of value. Like,
they get a lot of value if they trade him.
If they had traded Dylan Cease for what he was truly worth like a couple months ago, maybe they do get one of Donovan or Gorman. But now they really can't do that. Like now they're in the position that where they have to move on from Dylan Cease, and the Cardinals don't have to trade for him. They don't have to move on from Donovan or Gorman, so they can probably go out and like do like a Dylan Carlson and like a Thomas to JC package or something like that. That doesn't involve one of the guys who's been proven at the major league level. Like it'll be a lot less than what they're asking for, and they completely overplayed their hand, which is great because now we can be in on that market.
Yeah, that's the hope. I still want to rule out though, like if their asking price comes down, it's not like just because a team walked away when their asking price is high. I mean, that's what the Cardinals clearly have done, or else they would have met it by now. So if the Cardinals are back in play, honestly, the Orioles could still be in play if they wanted to be. They have enough guys to go get in. All the guys that it would have taken, like this is not the package. Even if the Cease market came down, I don't think this would have been the package to get it done for Dylan Cease. So, I mean, if the Orioles really want to go out and be a Bradish, Burnes, Cease, Rodriguez rotation and literally be the World Series favorite potentially, over the Dodgers. They could do it.
How many two-way players do the Orioles have?
How many two-way players do the Dodgers have this year?
What did that do for the Angels last few years? Okay,
how much pitching is Shohei Ohtani going to do this year?
I think he'll come back in the playoffs.
The Dodgers don't have a reliever this year.
As a reliever, yeah.
But seriously, like the Orioles could be back in play. The Braves, apparently, Anthopoulos kept saying at their fan fest that Dylan Cease is too expensive. So if the price comes down, maybe the Braves are aggressive. Again, it's the freaking Dodgers, so who knows if they could do it again, the Reds. But I agree that it does play into the Cardinals' favor. And this is what they really like to do with these kind of trades is they like to wait out the market, wait for all the options to go away, be one of the last players left at the table, and not be the first one to blink. And well, it could work out this time. But I'm right there with you guys. I kind of think they're going to wait it out. Hope till the deadline comes around. And sure, I mean, it could work out for them. If he stays healthy, he pitches well, and there's contenders who need arms, they might end up getting him more at the deadline than they can right now. But I agree. I think it's too risky. If I were them, I'd be cashing in the chips right now. But honestly, probably the offers they're getting in December, I bet, are better than what they're going to get now. So maybe it forces them to wait anyways, that they should have done it in December, but now they've so overplayed their hand that they kind of have to wait.
It's possible.
We'll see. But I do think I've got a story I'm working on where this trade with the Brewers just made, the Cardinals can be content and just sit and win the NL Central probably, or at least be there with the Reds, or they can go out and make that one more move and they can be the team. Like they could go spend, which is probably the better path, go spend a Monty or Snell and not give up any of their prospects. And then you have a not elite rotation. You have elite top two and a good rotation. Or you go and trade for a Cease or something and you really put yourself over the top in terms of being like a true NL Central favorite. And then you can at least like make it a series with the Braves and Dodgers. You have a puncher's chance. Right now, I don't think any of us even think they have a puncher's chance. I think they can make the playoffs, maybe win the wild card series, and then you're kind of done. Except Sandy apparently thinks they'll win the World Series.
Look, baseball playoffs are very random. The Cardinals,
it's true.
Very.
I'm not going to predict randomness though. Like I'm not going to.
Yamamoto is not a playoff pitcher.
I'm with you. I don't like to predict randomness either. But like when my team needs randomness, I'm gonna hope it happens.
Like when the Diamondbacks made the playoffs, I wasn't gonna be like, I'm predicting that they're gonna have all this weird stuff happen and they're just gonna win games. Like,
of course,
but that's true. It can happen. So, but
yeah, I like what you said though. I think if the Cardinals go out and there are still two ace level pitchers left that only cost money. And that's got to be the toughest thing.
Are they even ace level pitchers? I don't know.
I think Montgomery is an ace level pitcher, and
like front line. They're at least front line.
I'm not a Snell lover, but he's won 2 Cy Young awards. And how many guys active in the league today have done that? Like even if you're not going to get like peak Blake Snell every year, you'll probably get at least 1 or 2 more years of peak Blake Snell, and that guy can. When he's at his best, one of the best pitchers in the league. He's just not at his best all the time. But back to what I was saying here, there are still 2 guys that just cost money. And if the Cardinals don't want to give up any more young talent, they don't have to, especially if those markets come down. Scott Boras is overplaying his hand the same way that Chris Getz has overplayed his hand. I wonder if teams have walked away from the table on them. I wonder if the Yankees have walked away from the table on a guy like Snell. Obviously, the Yankees will be interested again if the price tag drops, but could Montgomery drop into a range where the Cardinals are suddenly more interested? At the beginning of the offseason, we're talking about 6 years, 150 to 170. Like, no, I don't like that deal if I'm the Cardinals. But if he drops into the 3 for 85 range, like, yeah, I'm really interested in that. I would definitely be paying for that. Maybe you can front load it too with the Sonny Gray deferral.
Sure.
I'm getting a little ahead of myself. It's a lot of conjecture, but you're right. The Cardinals can go and they can make themselves the favorite in this division, and they can give themselves a real chance to emerge from the National League.